Oh, God. Guys, I'm so sorry. We had a terrible the meta tripped, and so there was nothing we could do. So sorry about the interruption. I'm really sorry about that. I hope it doesn't happen again. I really hope it doesn't happen again. Forgive us. It's actually not my fault, but the internet provider a problem. So I don't even know what to say right now, but sorry, we are back now. We hope you can share back and let us have our people, those who were right on, so we can start back. Hello, Dodging and Cope. Nice to have you. Aluta continua. I can't invite you now because so maybe at the end of the show, maybe yeah, we could bring you on if you really want to say something. But for now, let us just get back to business and see what we have in store for today. So yeah. Sorry for that interruption, guys. Sorry about that. We had a lot of heaters are on, and because of that the thing just keep tripping, the meta keeps tripping. So this is Ireland for you, very cold, and so sorry about that. Amber must win. Thanks for watching. Welcome on board. Kindly share and invite. Welcome on board, man of God. Welcome. Kindly share as you join. Invite your friends. Sorry about the interruption. Like I said, a lot of heaters are on, and because of that the meta keeps tripping. So sorry about that, but I hope it doesn't repeat itself. Thank you, Amber Strong. Thank you, Amber Strong. I'm sure Capo saw the flyer that I sent out yesterday. If he's live now, that is not a problem at all. Maloba, that is not a problem. That is fine. Capo can be on. It's not a problem at all. We will all be doing the same thing anyway, so that is quite okay. So okay, guys, I'm just gonna continue now. I don't think we can get back the number of people we had before for now, but we hope they join us back later. And like I said, I was just going through what the Ambazonia Governing Council Cabinet arrived at yesterday. We actually had a 4-hour meeting yesterday, Sunday, with the various departments presenting its action plan, what they have installed, what they intend to do to actually make Ambazonia a contender at the international level. What is happening on ground zero to make Ambazonia a contender, replacing the then guns from the hands of our soldiers, trying to minimize the lives that are being lost, and what is needed for ground zero. The defense chair was also in the meeting with the Secretary General of the ADF. They gave us a detailed report of what is happening on ground zero and what the plans of action are for the year. And like I said, we also touched base with the current human rights situation on the ground. We also looked into the various trials ongoing for our comrades who are held in the various dungeons of La République. And at the end of it all, we arrived at certain resolutions, which are both internal resolutions and resolutions that can be shared to the public. And I said the Secretary General of the Ambazonia Governing Council, in the next, maybe today or tomorrow, will be putting in public that which is meant for public consumption, and so that the people can know exactly what we arrived at in that 4 hours meeting. So I was also saying that today is 11 February and we're not going to talk about the history of 11 February. We know what 11 February has been before October 2016 to our youth in Ambazonia. But we can all be proud to say today that our youth have actually been delivered from that mental slavery for the past 56 years, 57 years, and today they've been instilled higher values. And you can see, I saw pictures in the morning of 11 February within Ambazonia, which is something that has before October 2016 or maybe before last year was not like that. So we have to honestly appreciate ourselves for job well done, for delivering ourselves from that mental slavery that we've been living in for the past 57 years. And I said today we're going to be talking about the chaos in Cameroon amongst Cameroonians and the government, and we'll also be looking at the chaos that they're trying to bring into our camp to make us think that there is actually chaos in the Ambazonian revolution. So I know many people, when they saw the title, they thought like we're going to be fighting, boxing each other. No, we don't box. We will just be bringing to you, enlighten our people, encourage our people, empower our people, and we will always present a way forward on how to go about the successful prosecution of this revolution. So I was saying that for us to actually have a little bit of understanding of what I mean by chaos in the Camp of Cameroon, we will be looking at the press statement that was sent out by the Cameroon ambassador in the US regarding the announcement that was made by the US general regarding the US intention to cut aid from Cameroon. So this statement was made on the 8th of February, just 2 days, like a few days ago. And we look into it and you'll be amazed how these people reason. So thank you again. And in that we will also be looking at the important things that we've done so far against in this revolution and what we need to do in order to actually get to Buea even quicker. And I wanted to bring this letter to your attention. I said this letter, this is the statement. It reads, I'm going to read this for us to actually analyze it together. So the statement reads, statement by the Embassy on U.S. Assistant. That is the Embassy of Cameroon in the USA. So yeah, this is what Harry, what's his name? Henry Etuji Esamba said. He said, the Embassy of Cameroon wishes to provide clarity with regard to recent claims in the media of the reduction in U.S. security assistance in Cameroon, to Cameroon. My major concern in this particular letter, I know most of you must have had it through the social media. If you don't have it, I'm going to put this out on my wall for you to see. I know most people have seen it though, but so let us talk about it. So he says, as a matter of fact, he states here that it is a claim. That what the general says is a claim, which in other words, may he be saying that this is not true. This is just something on the social media. And we, of course, we saw the video of the general making the announcement. And if an ambassador says this is a claim, I want to state here that the U.S. general, when he speaks on behalf of the U.S. government. He speaks the mind of the U.S. government. This is something that has been, these people have sat on it, they have evaluated it, they have weighed it, they've seen the consequences, they've seen the benefit, they've seen everything that they need to, they've weighed everything, and the media and the general or the government provided this information to the various media outlets in the US. We saw the CNN reporting on this particular issue. And here is a minister of La République du Cameroon telling us that it's a claim, which in other words, he's saying that this is false. He's still trying to give hope to the people, to Cameroonians, about US support to their fight against Boko Haram or whatever that they are fighting for against, especially against Ambazonians. He is saying that this is not true. What is circulating on social media is just false information. And we, of course, know those, especially those of you who live in the USA and understand the laws of USA. You can bear with me that when the general speaks, we are talking of the same general who accompanied the U.S. ambassador to Cameroon prior to the 2018 presidential election. He accompanied Peter Henry Ballerin to Cameroon. They went straight to the presidency. They spoke to the president of Cameroon about the atrocities that are being committed in Ambazonia. They called on the government of Cameroon to open a transparent investigation on these atrocities that are being committed in Ambazonia. This is the same person that the Cameroon ambassador in the US says what he told the world is a claim. I bet he didn't even know that the general went to Cameroon. He saw it on social media as well, or maybe he saw it on news. So we are talking about a country. This is the same thing that Issa Chiruma Bakari did. When the AFCON 2019 was taken away from Cameroon, let's not forget, Issa Chiruma came out very quick to present a statement, or wrote a statement and told the people it's not true. So the government of Cameroon and its ministers are known for lies telling and covering up. They don't even know what is true for them. They don't even know it. Because if I go, if a government, or maybe if the minister from another country, let's say an ambassador from, a British ambassador in Cameroon comes out and counter what Issa Chiruma says regarding the government of Cameroon. Let's say Issa Chiruma speaks. He's the mouthpiece of the government of Cameroon. When he speaks, the government of Cameroon is automatically speaking. So whatever he says out there will be taken to mean that which the government, the position of the government of Cameroon. So if somebody comes out and say that it is a claim, or that is indirectly saying that they are lying. And this is the voice of America speaking to the people about their intentions and what they would do in Cameroon. So I just wanted us to bring that issue of them saying that this is really a chaotic country. Issa Chiroma is known for his lies, coming out and telling people things that are irrelevant, telling people lies, going on interview, BBC, Al Jazeera, what have you. He lies about everything. He even refused that AFCON was not yet taken from Cameroon. And this is just the same thing that Harry Etudi is doing in this email. Let us go to the next paragraph. He says in August 2018, the US government announced that the United States African Command will begin to withdraw troops from the region in recognition of the successes of joint efforts to deter, disrupt and defeat ISIS-affiliated Boko Haram terrorists in the Lake Chad region. In conjunction with this announcement, Cameroon was informed that marginal reductions in U.S. security assistance will accompany this withdrawal. Cameroon has not been informed of any further reduction in U.S. security assistance since then. So the minister, the ambassador, in other words, is telling us that they are still waiting for an official statement or an official letter or whatever from the U.S. government to tell them that they are now reducing aid in military assistance in Cameroon. Come on, people, let us reason this together. The government proud this day informs you that they're going to be reducing their military assistance in the country. They came in proud to the presidential election. They warned the government about the atrocities. We all heard what the ambassador said. He was very clear on TV. He said that these people are committing, the military is committing atrocities in Ambazonia. They've seen videos of military committing atrocities in Ambazonia. And they are calling on the government. Well, he said both sides. They are calling on the government to open a transparent investigation into this matter. They warned the government of Cameroon about the atrocities, about the maiming, the killing, the raising down of the communities, the raping of our girls. They warned the government on these issues, and they did not listen because they felt that because they are known that they are notorious in committing these such atrocities. They felt it would just pass away like any other crimes that they've been committing, not knowing that every crime of genocide, every crime of war, any crime against humanity would definitely have its consequences. And so he is still here thinking that the government, the US government, is supposed to consult them before actually withdrawing its aid to Cameroon. This is really a mess. These guys are really this ambassador is really somebody without a brain. So it's pathetic how a whole ambassador will be thinking in that light. So I want to look at paragraph 3 and let us see what he has to say in paragraph 3. Paragraph 3, he says, Cameroon is an important U.S. security partner in the region since 2015. That sounds to me like he is now crying and lobbying for U.S. to remain in Cameroon, continue to supply them with equipment so that they can further neutralize Ambazonians and cause havoc in our territory. So what he's saying here, that they've been partners with the U.S. since 2015. Cameroonians and U.S. forces have partnered in training, intelligence gathering, and surveillance. That has contributed to a significant reduction of terrorist threats in the region. These and other elements of our security cooperation are of mutual benefit, and there is widespread recognition that its disruption could have serious implications for Central Africa Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa have used the region to recruit, train, latest worldwide trade assessment of the US. So this is something that he's trying to do. To me, I think that what this guy is just trying to do now is, they are saying that there is nothing. They are saying that he is now trying. They claim this was a claim, and now they are saying that US doesn't have to leave, because if US leave, then we are going to be having a widespread terrorist attack in West Africa, the likes of Boko Haram, forgetting that they have been warned. They have tried everything to attack Ambazonians, terrorists, and they have not succeeded. And we should not forget that the likes of US are basically allergic to things when it comes to terrorist attack, terrorists, or the term terrorism, following the 9/11 attack in the Twin Tower in USA. So they are basically trying to lobby the US. The same person who says that the US, these people have not notified them, are the same people that are trying to lobby the US, or even solicit other countries within the West African region or in the Gulf of Guinea to solicit the US to maintain its support to Cameroon, bringing in the whole region into what they are trying to do. So I just wanted to bring a little bit of that, and just for us to know that the action of the US is actually what we have all been clamoring for, we've all been crying for, we've all been calling for. We say we want to internationalize our case and all that. So this letter still goes on. I don't think I want to finish all of it, but like I said, there is part of it. This is going to be put up on the wall for you to look at it and see how ridiculous this ambassador looks to us. So I want to use that letter, and I talk to you about the tried approach of the Ambazonia Governing Council. We have talked about the tried approach. What is this tried approach? We've talked about the internationalization, diplomacy, internationalization, mobilization of our people, and self-defense. If we listen to the general, the US general, in the video that he made, I want to be specific. In that video, you will see that in the 25th to 27th second, he said something very important and critical in that video. He said there have been issues of atrocities committed and issues of alleged war violations of law of war. If you look at that, you will come to see that the decision of the US to actually withdraw their aid from Cameroon is because the government of Cameroon is actually breaching the laws of war. They've been committing atrocities. They've been committing the same atrocities that they've cautioned them from committing from that period when they visited Cameroon to talk about the election and to really refrain them from committing the atrocities they've been hearing that are being committed in Ambazonia. They have not stopped from doing so. So if the US government puts all of this together, they are saying that they're actually going against the law of war. And this is really a serious matter. And this will also tie with our general call. We, the people of Ambazonia, we've been calling on the international community and saying that we want for Biya to answer to the international tribunal, the Biya and his members of his government, for the atrocities that they've been committing in Ambazonia. And if you look at the action of the US government, it actually tells us that we have a case against the government of Cameroon. We actually have a case against the government of Cameroon for the acts committed, the atrocities, the war crimes, the crimes of genocide the crimes against humanity. So if this is also to tell us, if we look at the recent report that came in from the United Nations Human Rights Council in respect of Cameroon, in respect of the human rights situation in Cameroon and that of the refugee, I want to give you the exact figures for us to know that this decision was not just taken abruptly. It's been people, they've studied it, they've actually sat over it, and they decided to take this move. So the United Nations Human Rights the United Nations High Commission on Refugee in December 2018 published a report that says that as of the 3rd of December 2018, we have about 32,601 refugees who were registered at level 1 and 2 within Nigeria, whatever that means. And as of 31st of December 2018, we have over 2,790 Ambazonians refugees registered in Benue State in Nigeria. And as of 31st of December 2018, 7,236 refugees were registered in the Adangom settlement in Cross River State. These are just the figures given by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. And of course, we know that these figures do not actually corroborate what is happening in our territory. So if these people, if this number of people flee their communities to move into another man's land, then it is obviously because there is something that is not going right in their community. It is because there is something actually chasing them out of their communities. And this something, of course, would definitely be the government of Cameroon. The atrocities that are being committed against their communities, their property, their lives and everything. So people don't just get up, flee from their communities in thousands into other numbers, into other man's country. I also just want to bring our attention to the United Nations Office of the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs report in December 2018. This report equally presents a fairly succinct report of what is happening in Ambazonia. Let us just try to look at this and see the reason why these people are really trying to cover up the fact that the US government has cut off aid from them. The report states that 4 million people have been affected by the war in Ambazonia. I said 4 million people have been affected by the war in Ambazonia. About 1.5 million people are in dying needs in Ambazonia. We have about 160,000 people that have been targeted by the emergency plan to receive help in Ambazonia, and we have 437,500 internally displaced persons. We, of course, know that these numbers are not real. I mean, we know that we have more than 850,000 internally displaced persons in Ambazonia. But however, this is also a report that we have to take into consideration. We have about 500,000 people in need in the host communities that they are actually taking care of. And we have about 330,000 people in need, other people, which means there are still a lot of people that they've not even accounted for. These are all these atrocities have caused Ambazonia or the government of La Republique to actually not be in good terms with their international partners. So I just want to say these are some of the things the government of Cameroon, we've been dealing with the government of Cameroon. The government of Cameroon is one of those governments that do not like international scrutiny. They don't like international scrutiny. They don't like when their name is out there and the international community has its eyes on them and all that, especially the likes of Paul Biya, because he knows, dictators, they are never really sure of their future. Of course, he has seen what happened with the likes of Gaddafi and the likes of Mugabe. So he knows that once the international community begins to turn attention to him, definitely the fate of Mugabe and that of Gaddafi will definitely be meeting him. So the government of Cameroon is that government of, they have that foreign policy of intervention or whatever it is that they do. They don't want, they are very uncomfortable when the international community starts scrutinizing them, the international community start having eyes on them. These are atrocities that are being reported. We have been following the tried approach is actually to let the world know exactly what is happening in Ambazonia. And it's because of this internationalization of our case that we heard the House of Lords speaking about our case. We could hear the German parliament talking about our case. We heard the US bringing up our case at the level of the Security Council. We saw the US withdrawing aid from Cameroon. And I can bet you that as we continue to push with the targeted diplomacy and internationalization of our case, mobilizing Ambazonians both at home and abroad, many other countries, our goal was to make sure that La Republique does not receive military aid from other countries to continue persecuting our people. And we are actually achieving that goal because our case has been raised in many of these parliaments. In many countries have raised up our case, and if the US has withdrawn aid from Cameroon, that we should be rest assured that many other countries will follow suit. The Ambazonia Governing Council is making sure that this happens. We are greatly involved in fierce targeted diplomacy to make sure that our case does not end at this level, that as the US has started, so will other countries continue to withdraw their financial aid from Cameroon. So I just want to talk about a little bit more about the second element. I would have loved to really expatiate on that later, but I think that we have other things that we also, I would like us to talk on more. I wanted to talk about the second element of the chaos for those who think that there is actually chaos in the Ambazonian revolution. If you permit me to say this, in every revolution, there is always specific goals for that revolution, and the Ambazonian revolution is no exception to any other revolution that has been fought in the past. So the Ambazonian revolution, we have these specific goals have to do with at least 4 objectives. What we seek to achieve as we fight, based on the strategy, that is what we seek to achieve as a matter of fact, the resources that we have in place to make sure that what we are seeking for, we achieve it successfully without constraint, either by us being the primary investors in the struggle for our liberation, or seeking for external help to make sure that we actually achieve that goal. And we can also achieve the goals of our revolution based on strong leadership. A leadership that can be able to take the people, direct the people, focus, make the people be focused, and follow a particular pattern or plan to make sure that they realize the goals of the revolution. So we can of course agree that the Ambazonian revolution has a goal. The Ambazonian revolution of course has a goal, and the goal for most of us is about gaining independence. It's for us to actually gain full-fledged independence. But that said, there is this notion of chaos within the various wings or the movements or the various affiliates in the revolution who are thinking. Of course, we have the independencies, we have the unionists, we have the federalists, and the people at times just don't have a specific goal for what is the goal of the federalists, what is the goal of the unionists, and all those. So because they don't really have a well-structured goal, or they don't have a specific plan, they just mix everybody together, box the independencies together with those of the unionists and that of federalists. So when the federalists don't have a plan, it becomes a problem, because they are trying to pull the independencies into their chaotic state, making those who are unable to differentiate these people to think that we are actually in chaos, which is actually not true. If federalists, amongst the federalists that we are talking about, we have federalists who believe in 4-state federation, we have those that believe in 5-state federation, we have those for 6, we have those for 10, we have those for 2-state federation. We have unionists who are there, and we have to ask ourselves, what have they done? What the government of Cameroon kept talking about decentralization since he started talking about decentralization. What measures or what steps have they taken to make sure that this actually is effectuated? So we unionists, federalists are first of all confused. They try to lure independencies into adopting their agenda, because they still believe in that one Cameroon, the one Cameroon agenda. But then my question you ask yourself is, if the federalists are this confused amongst them, they don't even know what they want. 5-state federation, 4-state federation, 10-state federation, or 2-state federation. How then do they want to come and solve a problem that they can't even solve a problem amongst themselves? I think they should be able to actually clean up their mess and be able to before they can actually come to talk about the independent cause of Ambazonia, because we of the AGC, Ambazonia Governing Council, we stand for the full independence of Southern Cameroon. So those people that would think that they are calling, that could go sit in a federalist conference in the DC to talk about the future of Ambazonia, those are the ones that are trying to cause chaos within the Ambazonian revolution. Those people, they don't know the left from the right. And those who think that the agency was supposed, the Ambazonian Governing Council was supposed to go and sit with these federalists to discuss what we don't know, because we really don't have the same goals. We really don't have the same objective for the struggle. So we really don't know what they wanted people like the Ambazonian Governing Council to go and sit and discuss with federalists in the DC. So talking about, we said if you want to have in every revolution, we have to have a strategy, we have to have resources, we have to have a good leadership. So if we want to talk about strategy, I just want to recall us that when this revolution started, the Ambazonian Governing Council brought in the issue of the block-by-block mechanism. The issue of the block-by-block mechanism was fully adopted by every Ambazonian within the territory. Even a 2-year-old child who can talk will actually talk about the block-by-block. The block-by-block was to empower our people to rise up against the oppression, against the barbarism of the La République, to defend themselves. And this has worked successfully. I will not want to talk more into this, because the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council will be coming up tomorrow and will really expatiate on the statement made by the U.S. General in respect to the aid to Cameroon, and also on this issue of replacing the then guns with real materials to our guys. Then we also have talked about targeted diplomacy, internationalization, mobilization of our people. We, of course, can bear witness with the happenings that we have actually internationalized our case. We cannot say today that our case is not being heard at the international level. We may not be having the immediate result that we are longing for, but we can't deny the fact that our case has not been internationalized. If the House of Lords sits and talks about our case, then we have actually hit the international scene. If the United States lift up our case at the level of the Security Council, then we, of course, have touched the international scene. If the CNN, the likes of CNN, are talking about our case, we have, of course, touched the international scene. If the German parliament will sit and talk about the Ambazonian case, then we have done a great job at the level of the international scene. If the Australian parliament has talked about it, the Swedish parliament has talked about it, the Finnish parliament has talked, a lot of countries have talked about our case. The British government itself has talked about it. So we cannot deny the fact that we have not been doing tremendously well at the level of internationalizing our case and targeted diplomacy. So that said, but the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council will be coming up tomorrow, and he will still throw more light on that, especially on the issue of making Ambazonia a contender. And we are talking about resources. In every revolution, we must be able to have resources to make sure that our objectives are achieved. The Ambazonian people have by themselves been the primary investors in this revolution. They are people who have been contributing tirelessly to make sure that the people back home are protected from the atrocities of La République du Cameroon. We have Ambazonians who have today taken up jobs to make sure that the people who are in the bushes are fed, those in prisons are catered for, and those in the hospitals are actually, their needs are met. That is because they understand the level, the barbaric regime of La République and what it does to its people. So Ambazonians are doing extremely well to make sure that they are going to continue to fund their revolution. Also, let's not forget about the incredible achievement that we've gotten so far at the level of the Amber coin. The Amber coin has hit the international scene. That is to tell you that Ambazonians are actually going places. We're doing tremendously well. And those that are trying to see that we to infiltrate our ranks and cause chaos in our midst, we just want to tell them that Ambazonians are more wiser these days. Ambazonians are more wiser these days, and Ambazonians are more determined than ever before to make sure that they get their liberation, they get their independence, and get it as quick as possible. So as we are actually doing this, as we are actually hitting the international scene and trying to fund the Ambazonian revolution by ourselves and everything, I think it is also it's also our responsibility to make sure that we continuously hold state parties, those that make up the UN, to invoke the principle of responsibility to protect, so that our people can be protected from these atrocities of La République du Cameroon. It is our duty, it is now left for us to make sure that we have no rest until the principle of responsibility to protect is invoked to save the lives of Ambazonia. We've been doing great in the Twitter world. We've been doing great, we've been doing that, but we still continue to intensify this call. The leaders still have to intensify this call, and I can speak from the viewpoint of the Ambazonian Governing Council that the State Department of the AGC is doing extremely well. It's meeting with countries, it's talking with leaders, it's building relationships to make sure that we have enough people standing to back up when we are calling for the invocation of the principle of responsibility to protect. So I just wanted to bring this to our attention. Let us know that the government of Cameroon that is it's already in a mess and is trying to pull us in that mess. We shouldn't allow them to use whatever their agents provocateur to come into our midst to bring confusion in our revolution. But there is one thing that the ambassador said in his in the paragraph 4 of his letter, which of course is something that I would really call our attention to, because he said, in addition to our effort to address external terrorist threat, Cameroon confronts a violent secessionist movement in the northwest and southwest regions. This violence has been exacerbated by certain members of Cameroonian diaspora, including the United States, who have been providing financial and military support and guidance to secessionist fighters. These illegal activists have been publicly displayed on social media channels like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and documented by Human Rights Watch. They have also been cited as acts of terrorism in recent criminal complaints and lawsuits submitted to U.S. authorities by victims of violence seeking damages under the 1992 Anti-Terrorism Act. I just want to bring to your attention that this guy is actually trying to seek relevance, or trying to lobby with the United States government to make sure that this the act of withdrawing its aid from Cameroon should maybe be revisited and all that. But I just also want to bring our attention to that. All of these things will be going. Let us be careful what we come online to talk about. These are very sensitive things, and the likes of all those Gary Masters, the likes of Eric Tato, who spend hours on the internet calling for people's hands to be garried, to be chopped off, their feet to be chopped off. They should be careful, knowing that these things are actually referring to them. And people like Chris Anos, whose mouth they rant with no control, calling for UN personnel and UN personnel and their properties to be attacked, should be aware that these things are being recorded and documented. So that said, this particular paragraph will be revisited by the president of the Ambazonia Governing Council, who is coming up tomorrow to talk to actually give us the state of the revolution and the way forward. Okay. Okay. One last thing I wanted to talk about. One last thing I would like to talk about, which I know a lot of people will be wondering why. When we say we have chaos in the various ranks, of the Ambazonian revolution, I just want to state here that every act that we commit, we should consider the suffering of our people on ground zero. We have to take into consideration those women, those mothers, those children that are out of school. We have to take into consideration those mothers that are lying in bushes, those children that are in refugees camps. We cannot be so selfish to always think that it has to be our way or no way. We cannot continue to undermine the suffering of our people on ground zero. We cannot continue to undermine the deaths of our young men in ground zero, fighting over nothing. People, this revolution, there are some people who have taken this as their lives, and there are others who are just there trying to seek relevance, trying to consolidate power, trying to reap from the Ambazonian revolution. But we want to call on those people who are undermining the suffering of our people, who are undermining the level of bloodbath in Ambazonia for their own selfish interest, should beware, because anything they do today, whatever they are doing today, whatever they are saying today, will definitely come after them. The government of Cameroon has maybe felt nobody could hold it to account. Maybe because they got admission into the United Nations Human Rights Council, felt that they will not be held for atrocities, human rights abuses in Cameroon, or maybe out in Ambazonia or out of Ambazonia. We have seen videos of his military killing women and children, even kids as young as 4 months old. We have seen them. But today, they are shocked to know that the U.S. government that has been sitting there fighting, supporting them to fight against terrorism, is the same person that is withdrawing its aid from it, and even using the language that they are alleged violations of the law of war. Let us all be aware. Let us all be aware that we will be held accountable. We will be held accountable for all these things. The government of Cameroon, of course, will be answering before the international court. And we should not forget that we have been comporting ourselves, or we have conducted ourselves in such a way that our actions have been in line with international laid down norms. If this was not so, the government of Cameroon would have succeeded in painting us as terrorists. And when they paint us as terrorists and other governments recognize the fact that we are actually terrorists, they will of course come together to fight against international terrorism. And American government will go to any length to fight terrorism because of what happened to them on 9/11. So we should continue. We should be very careful with what we do. We should be careful with our actions. We should be mindful of what is happening on ground zero. The lives of our boys, the lives of our youths that are being slaughtered on a daily basis. And people decide, or people sit in their various corners fighting to consolidate their position, stealing from the people the same resources that people have put together to make sure that the lives of our boys, the lives of our people are protected. They use it, they put in their personal pockets, while the lives of our guys are being wasted on the ground. When the U.S. government warned the government of Cameroon against these atrocities, we all saw the massacres that took place after that visit in Cameroon. We saw the massacres that took place in Bello. We saw that in Batibo. We saw those in Munyenge. We saw those in Kumba, how our boys were bundled, killed, and set ablaze. These are all crimes against humanity, and the government of Cameroon at times feel they are going because they have people supporting them. They had the U.S. government supporting them to fight against terrorism. They could do whatever they feel like doing and will go scot-free. But we also just want to let them know that this is a major move by the government, the U.S. government, for us to further push, or just in accordance with what we've been calling for the international court to try the government of Cameroon and its ministers for the crimes committed in Ambazonia. So Ambazonians that are out there, Ambazonians that are there doing nothing but promoting the killing of our boys, undermining the killing of our boys, spending the resources that are meant to protect or provide the guys with the necessary materials that they need to stay alive. They should be careful, because they will also be held accountable. They will also be held accountable. Well, I was not really going to stay long on this. I just wanted to have a conversation with you for after a while, and also to bring out some of these things that the government of Cameroon, the suffering in their camps, and what they're trying to use, how they're trying to infiltrate our own camp to set confusion and cause us to keep fighting one another, why our boys are being killed and slaughtered on the ground. I just wanted us to caution us to know that this is the fate of Cameroon. We cannot allow Cameroon to come in and try to destroy that which people have suffered, have labored to get to where it is right now. The infiltration and the confusion in our revolution is what has actually taken us aback for this number of for the past 1 year or so. We have to be vigilant. We have to be careful. We have to define our goals. If you don't have goals, if you don't have an objective for this revolution, if you think the revolution is a laboratory where you can test policies, where you can test things and undermine the consequences of those policies, and undermine the consequences of your utterances or the things you say, be careful, because it is taking us all aback and it is causing pain and suffering to our people on the ground. We have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. La République cannot be confusing, and we are also confusing at the same time. We are a people of direction, because we have those who think that there is no leadership in this revolution. They are completely wrong, because we have a leadership. I will speak from as a spokesperson for the AGC, because the Ambazonia Governing Council has a leadership. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is the president of the Ambazonia Governing Council, and that is a leader with a plan. He has strategy, he has a vision for the liberation of Ambazonia. So all those who feel that there is no leadership in this struggle, they should think again, because they are people who spend day and night mapping on strategies on how to free homeland, mapping on strategies on how to get people to support us, to make sure that the atrocities, the killing of our people, the suffering of our people in the past 57 years comes to an end. This is not an experimental ground. The Ambazonia revolution is not a laboratory where people go and experiment. Carry your experiments to where experiments are done. The lives of our people will not be used for experiments. Don't bring your strategies that have nothing to offer to the people just because you want to challenge somebody, or because you want to make people think that you are the one leading, at the detriment of the people on the ground. At the detriment of those on the ground. They are the one facing the heat. Carry your experiments to where experiments are done, and allow the revolution for revolutionaries to lead it and take Ambazonians to where they're supposed to be. We are tired of losing our guys on the ground for the simple reason of people using them as experiment, because people have the hijack policies, change their names, and try to implement it without having a vision of it, without having a strategy of implementing it. Allowed the leaders, those who can lead, to lead this revolution, those who have a plan to prosecute this revolution to its ultimate end. Allowed revolutionaries to step in and take control of this revolution. Stop using the Ambazonian revolution as a ground to settle your scores, as a ground to experiment. This is not a laboratory. The lives of our people is not a laboratory ground where you can go and carry out your experiment. Those people should honestly stop. Those people honestly have to stop. Tomorrow, the president of the Ambazonia Governing Council will be coming on live. I will encourage you to listen to him speak, what he has for you, the plan he has for Ambazonia, and the vision for this struggle. There is this revolution, those who embrace it with their whole being, those who understand the suffering of our people, those who understand the dynamics of what is happening on the ground, of course have a vision, of course have a plan, of course have strategies on how to liberate our people. Allow them to implement these strategies. Stop popping in yet now and then, distracting and derailing the strategies from being effectively implemented because you want to prove yourself, because you want to think that you also have something to offer. No, you don't have anything to offer. Identify your strength and stay where you have strength, and allow those who understand the vision of the revolution, who understand the revolution, to actually prosecute it the way it's supposed to be prosecuted. I really wish I could turn this outing today to something else, but I will really want to stick to what I wanted to come and talk about, because I really feel right now, I feel so infuriated that I want to talk about many things, but I will not go down that path because of the things, because when I see the level of our guys that are dying on the ground and the way people are more joking around with lives, I feel like doing something that is really horrible. But I just thank God for the leadership and the institution where I belong, because the belief in following rules and regulations, the belief in maintaining in working according to the international laid down norms and principles on how to prosecute this revolution. So I want to thank you all for watching. Those that were able, that came before and due to the internet disconnection left, I thank you for coming anyways, and I thank you all, and let us know that the government of Cameroon at this point is actually trembling, because they know that the United States, this move of the United States is going to prompt others, is going to cause others to follow suit. And we will continue to force it down the throat of other countries to make sure that they do not support the government of Cameroon with with weapons and any other thing, with financial aid or with weapons to continue the war in Ambazonia, because we know that no matter what they go out there and say they want money for humanitarian, they use it to prosecute the war in Ambazonia. So we thank the United States government for what they've done, and we will continue to push. The Ambazonian Governing Council is working tirelessly behind the scenes, making sure that we make contacts with a lot of countries that will support us fight this monstrous regime, that will support us end the suffering of our people, that will support us stand as a state of its own, because of course we have our right to self-determination. So I thank you all very much. But before I go, I want to use this opportunity to thank or to appreciate two brains within the Ambazonian Governing Council who are today celebrating their birthday. People who work tirelessly day and night to celebrate, to make sure that Ambazonian becomes a contender, to make sure that the suffering of our people comes to an end. Physically, financially, and spiritually, they are putting their all to make sure that our people receive their freedom. So I want to thank Dr. Larry, the Secretary of State for the Ambazonian Governing Council. And I want to use this opportunity to wish him a blissful birthday. Well, it's his birthday. I can't say it's unfortunate, it's 11 February, but I want to use this opportunity to wish him a happy birthday. A happy birthday as he celebrates today, as one more year has been added to his years. And I also want to use this opportunity to celebrate the FINDEP of the Ambazonian Governing Council, that is Comrade Rema, because today is also his birthday. Yesterday was the birthday of the deaf chair of the Ambazonian Defense Forces. So it's I don't know this day, yesterday and today, but then I just want to celebrate these three men, these great leaders within the Ambazonian Governing Council, and the incredible job they've been doing to make sure that homeland is liberated. So Secretary of State Dr. Larry, happy birthday to you. Give a shout out to Dr. Larry if you see him or anywhere. Happy birthday to him, and also to FINDEP. I wish you a happy birthday. And also, hey, Deaf Chair, the still silent voice, the man of few words but made of steel. That's the defense chair for you. I want to say happy birthday, boss. It's an honor to work with you, and we appreciate you. We hail you for the incredible job you're doing for your people. So thank you very much for your attention, and make it a point to be with the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council tomorrow, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, at 8 p.m. Thank you for your kind attention, and we will be seeing more of ourselves. I will be coming more, and next time we wouldn't be analyzing a letter, we'll be having real talk. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.